All right, we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our second segment. But before we do that, I would like to ask you again to please follow the show, like and subscribe. Use the donation link on the screen, gsmcpodcast.net. Really does help me, really does help the entire show. So thank you so much for that, and let's get straight back into the show. All right, so we're going to be talking about our second segment here, which, as I mentioned it before, is going to be the power rankings for the National League. I'm going to do the American League after that, but I didn't have enough time to talk about it in one segment, so it's going to be in two. So I want to talk about the power rankings again, as I haven't done it in a few weeks, and I always love rankings. I always love power rankings. It's always super fun, in my opinion. So, and it's definitely changed after the Snell signing, which you will see. That's really why I wanted to do it, and it is closer and closer to the season, and I don't think a Jordan Montgomery signing for any team is really going to drastically put them over any other team. I think there'll be one case about that happening, and I'll talk about it in the AL part, so kind of a little thing there. But yeah, let's get straight into the NL Power Rankings. So we're going to start off from 15 to 1. At 15, no surprise, it is the Colorado Rockies. Not going to spend too much time on the Rockies here. They're really bad. They don't have much going for them. Their best player is... Who is their best player? I don't know. It's probably Nolan Jones, which is not a great, exciting thing. He broke out after a trade from the Guardians last year. Great, you have a nice young player, but if Nolan Jones is your best player, I think that shows where your franchise is right now. They don't have much going for them. Chris Bryant's been a disaster since coming there after replacing Arenado, quote-unquote. So, not a great time right now to be a Rockies fan. I don't know if it ever is, so... Now, I'm not going to talk about the Rockies much here. They're really bad. Number 14 is the Washington Nationals. Now, I want to preface, I don't think the Nationals are horrible. But as of right now, they are. What I'm trying to say here is they have a lot of young talent coming up, presumably this season, and I think a lot of that is going to help them. So I think if everything goes right, they will be much higher on this list come towards the end of the season. So as of right now, they are 14 just because their Major League roster right now is bad, but if your younger guys start coming up and performing like James Wood, Dylan Cruz, Robert Hassel, guys like that, I mean all over the farm system, Brady House as well, I think you'll do really, really well, and I think they'll kind of have a vision going forward and kind of show why these young guys are the future of their organization and why they are really good and why they're so sought after in baseball circles. So I don't think they're that bad because they have a young core there, but the pitching's not that good. And as of right now, because the players are not on the Major League roster, I will have to put them at 14. At number 13 is their NL East counterpart, the Miami Marlins. Now, the Marlins have not done much this offseason, letting a key piece like Jorge Soler walk, which I think was a big deal. You also had a lot of pitching injuries. You had Sandy Alcantara getting hurt, Yuri Perez getting hurt right now, probably not starting the season in opening day. Will probably be on the IL at that time. Yes, you have a lot of pitching depth. You have guys like Jesus Luzardo to fill in, Braxton Garrett, Ryan Weathers, AJ Puck, but you're still getting tested. I mean, I don't really know what you're going to see in AJ Puck or Ryan Weathers to make you seem like those are franchise guys. Both are mainly relievers. They're trying to make them starters right now because they're in a crunch. Could they see something in them? Absolutely, but it's right now they're making them starters because of where they are and because they are in a crunch with their roster right now. So, not very high on the Marlins going into the season. I don't know how Tim Anderson will perform. I think that's kind of their biggest X factor right now. If he can't perform well, I think you have a nice trade bait at the deadline or someone you can build around at the shortstop position. Hitting's not that good. Jake Berger's there, who's nice. You also have some other guys there as well, like Josh Bell, who performed well come over from the deadline. Jazz Chisholm, of course, being there. Brian De La Cruz, but not much going for right there if you're a Marlins fan. So I have him at number 13, and I feel pretty confident about that. Number 12 is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, the Pirates aren't that bad. They're kind of in the same boat as the Nationals. They have a lot of young talent, but I kind of just want to see it perform and come up before I can make a definitive ranking on them. The thing about the Pirates is they are building some stuff. It's just right now the MLB roster is really bad. You're going to have guys like Mark Gonzalez throw consistent innings for you. I mean, that kind of shows where you are right now with your roster. So I think there is a lot going for them in the future. I definitely think that is true. But as of right now, I do have them 12th. But if everything goes right, I can see them going higher on this list. And I think they're neck and neck right now with the number 11 team on my ranking, which is the Milwaukee Brewers. I kind of think both teams are neck and neck right now. Both are in vastly different scenarios. The Pirates are trying to be competitive for the first time in years, and the Brewers are kind of entering a rebuild for the first time in a while, having these great teams led by great pitching staffs with Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burns. Well, Corbin Burns got traded, and Brandon Woodruff's out for most likely the entire year. So you're definitely going into a transitional period as a franchise. You have younger talent coming up. Yes, you have guys you acquired like DL Hall, and young hitters you have on the lineup like Tyler Black, Sal Frelick, Jackson Chourio, of course, he's a beast. Of course, you have Christian Yelich there. So you're going into a new era as a Brewers fan, entering sort of what is a rebuild. And I kind of would put them here with the Pirates because I think both teams right now are on the same tier. Not awful, but not good. And I could definitely see the Pirates finishing. With the Brewers if everything does go correct. I'm really interested to see what direction the Brewers franchise does go in. Will they be a rebuilding team? Will they kind of bridge the gap with both? Will they be good? So it's going to be interesting for me to watch. Number 10, we have the St. Louis Cardinals. Yes, there's 3 NL Central teams in the back-to-back-to-back. And guess what? There's one right above it. That shows you how much I really believe that the NL Central is kind of compacted together. But 10 right now, we have the Cardinals. The Cardinals have a lot going for them. They have a great hitting core, a lot of young guys to watch. They signed Sonny Gray. And then the negative is kind of everything else. The bullpen isn't horrible. You have Ryan Helsley back there. But that pitching rotation, man, I've talked about it so much, and I'm going to keep talking about it because it's a travesty. You have such good hitters in that lineup, such good young talent in there, and you signed Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson to back it up. Just unbelievable in my opinion, and really just bad. I don't agree with it whatsoever. Sonny Gray already got hurt, which is not good for you going into the season. Having Miles Michaelis as your opening day starter, not great. So I'm not very high on them, but I give them the benefit of the doubt to be over the Brewers and the Pirates and go into the top 10. Just because of experience, because they do have so much talent on this team. Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt as the veteran guys, Mason Wynn, Jordan Walker, Lars Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan, so many other guys in the hitting core that are great. Wilson Contreras, of course. So a lot of talent there. That's why I have them at 10. But I think the Brewers, and the Pirates are pretty close in the situations they are in. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone goes over the other or not. So going to watch that here and going to see what happens. Number 9, I have another NL Central team, another one, the Chicago Cubs. Now, again, I have all these teams packed together in the same division because I do think they are very similar. I think they have a lot of similarities about them. I think they're in the same kind of situations, but I think the Cubs are a little better than these teams. I think they're trying to be competitive, clearly, and I think they are doing a good job at that. I think mainly this year is just about them proving to other people that they are contenders, that this team is very good. They added some nice pieces, and of course Craig Counsell, who's not a player but is a manager and still is very, very valuable. Shota Imanaga, who's a true wild card in every sense of the word. Hector Neris, who's a nice bullpen arm coming over from Houston. So I think they made some nice moves, and I think they have a nice team and core standing here. Nico Horner, Cody Bellinger, Dansby Swanson, Michael Bush you acquired, Matt Mervis, Christopher Morel, Ian Happ. You have a nice core there. I just think the complementary pieces are what need to perform, and I think the pitching staff needs to perform. If Justin Steele can be an ace again, I think that would be such a huge upgrade for you guys. So overall, I am high on the Cubs. I just need everyone to perform to their potential, and I need them to show people that they are a contender now, that they are going to perform really well. Number 8, I have the New York Mets. The Mets are a very interesting scenario. I'm really looking at their pitching staff as a big X factor. With Senga getting hurt, you have such boomer bust guys there like Tyler McGill, signed guys like Luis Severino, Sean Manaea, Jose Quintana needs to stay healthy. The lineup is good, but there are some weak spots. Of course, third base is one. I'm not that high in Brett Beatty. I don't think he'll perform that well. Harrison Bader can't really hit, but brings a lot of value with defense. Charlie Marte is a big question mark coming off injury. But you have some nice pieces there as well, of course. I mean, Francisco Alvarez, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, Mark Vientos, another wild card with him being a younger guy. So there's a lot of nice pieces with this Mets team. It's just they're so boomer bust that I don't know where to put them. I really think they are going to either make the playoffs or be one of the worst teams in the league. I think it all depends on that rotation. How will Severino and how will Manaea perform? coming off of last year and the interesting years they did have, for good or for not. So definitely gonna be really interested in seeing what the Mets do, seeing how they do perform. So that's the team I'm watching. I couldn't put them anywhere above 8, as I think the teams above them are definitely better. So that's where the Mets are right now. After that, at 7, we have the Padres, who played today, of course. The Padres I had below the Mets, but that was before they traded for Dylan Cease. I love that move for them. Getting another pitcher, especially an ace level one like Dylan Cease, was pretty great. Having him, Darvish, Musgrove at the top of that rotation with Michael King adds so much more legitimacy to that. You would have had 4 and 5 as guys fighting for real roles, which is not good if you're trying to compete. But now you only have the 5 spot, which seems to be won by Matt Waldron, who's a really interesting case. So I think it just brings so much more legitimacy to that Padres rotation. The hitting core has a lot of question marks as of right now. I mean, I don't know who's playing DH. I don't know who's playing left field forever. But just the sheer amount of talent there. I mean, Luis Campusano, Jake Cronenworth, Manny Machado, Ha-Sung Kim, Fernando Tatis Jr., there's Jackson Merrill. There's so much talent on that hitting core that I have to put them here. I have to put them high. I still think they're a good team, and I still think I could put them higher. I think they're neck and neck right now with our number 7 team, which we're going to talk about. Our number 6 team, which is the San Francisco Giants. I had the Padres above the Giants after they acquired Cease, but with the Snell signing, I think they are better than them now. I think the big problem was the pitching staff and the injuries the Giants sustained on it. I think bringing in Snell just brings so much more depth and legitimacy to that rotation. You now have him, you have Logan Webb, you have Kyle Harrison, you have Jordan Hicks for the first half. Then you get back guys like Tristan Beck, like Keaton Winn, Robbie Ray, Alex Cobb. I think if they can stay afloat with the pitching staff in the first half, they're going to be great. I think the hitting core has a lot of talent there. You sign Jung-Hoo Lee, you sign Matt Chapman, you sign Jorge Soler. You have other nice guys there as well, like Conforto, like Wilmer Flores, Marco Luciano's coming up. Patrick Bailey's a beast. So I do have the Giants in a playoff spot right now, and they're a really, really good team, and I love the moves they made. They didn't get a superstar, but they got a lot of nice complementary pieces to be around the team. I think you could say Snell's a superstar, but he probably won't be there for long because of the contract, so I don't really classify him as that right now. So going into the top 5 here, kind of a hot take in a way, is the Cincinnati Reds being top 5. I love the Reds so much. I love what they're going to do. I'm super high in them. I've talked about this so much in the podcast that people other than Red fans are probably sick of me. I love their young hitting core. I love all the sheer amount of talent they have. I think the pitching additions were great. I love everything about this team. I think they're the clear favorite in the NL, in my opinion. They added nice to the bullpen with Brent Suter. Already have one of the better closers in the league with Alexis Diaz in the back end. So I love everything about this Reds team. I think all their young hitters are going to finally come up, going to perform to their potential, and I think they're going to be really, really good this year, and I'm super excited to watch them. At number 4, we have the Philadelphia Phillies. Nothing much to say here. We talked about them a lot. They're so, so good. Adding Whit Merrifield was really their only notable addition this entire offseason. But they still have a great team. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, top of that rotation. Ranger Suarez there as well. Taijuan Walker, a bounce-back candidate. Christopher Sanchez. The bullpen has a lot of nice pieces. I mean, the lineup, of course, is incredible. JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, the new first baseman. Bryson Stott, Trey Turner, Alec Boehm, but still there, I guess. Kyle Schwarber, Johan Rojas, Brandon Marsh, Nick Castellanos. There's just so much sheer amount of talent there. With the pitching staff still being pretty good, I think it's clear that they're number 4, trying to make another World Series like they did 2 years ago. So definitely excited to watch the Phillies this season, see what they can do. And they're always really exciting when it comes to playoff time, so we'll see what happens there. After that, we have their NL counterpart, the team who beat them in the NLs. Of course, they're the NL counterpart. Sorry, we're talking about the NL only. My fault. The team that beat them in the NLCS last year to make it to the playoffs, I have above them the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, I think the Diamondbacks and the Phillies are very close, but I think the sheer amount of talent the Diamondbacks added this offseason is pretty indicative and shows that they are better. Eduardo Rodriguez brings a real number 3 option to that rotation that I think they were lacking before, even in the playoffs and the World Series. I think Jock Peterson and Randall Grichuk bring a really nice DH platoon for that position. I think Eugenio Suarez solidifies that third base spot. That was a question mark going in. I mean, you had Evan Longoria playing real minutes there in 2024. So I think overall they had a great offseason, and that's why I have them number 3 above the Phillies. But the Phillies add someone potentially and maybe go higher. Sure, I think if they added Montgomery, I'd still have the Diamondbacks over them just because of who they did add. But I think it's really close, and I think these two teams are in a tier of their own right now as being really, really good, but not up to the level of the top 2 teams, which I'm not going to spend too much time on because we know who they are. It's the Dodgers and the Braves. They're clearly the class of the NL right now, just on paper. These rosters are incredible. Of course, with the Dodgers, with what they've added, they're number 1, Braves are number 2, but both teams are incredible. Again, we know what the Dodgers and Braves are doing, as you know. We know about them. We know how good they are, so not going to spend too much time on it, but there we go. There are my NL Power rankings. Not too many surprises there. I think big one maybe is the Reds being top 5, but I'm very high in them, and I really excited to see how the season unfolds, and excited to see what the season has in store for us. So there we go. That's my second segment. We're going to go into a break here, but the third segment is going to be about the AL Power rankings, so building off that, of course. So we'll take a break, but then we'll talk about that. So thanks.